Welcome to episode 20 of Run the Length. Before we get into the episode, go check out my Patreon, where you can get access to early and exclusive content, as well as custom status effects tokens I use in this video. My opponent this week is the undisputed king of value, Pat Van Valza. Pat is one of the hosts of Strictly the Worst Guild Ball podcast. At the time of this recording, I am ranked 5th in the world and 2nd in the United States. Pat is ranked 39th in the world and 10th in the United States. I will be playing Farmers, and Pat is playing Brewers. We select game plans. My game plans are Hunker Down, The Offside Trap, Won't Touch the Hair, Fullback, and Go for the Knees. Pat's game plans are Grudge Match, Get Back in There, Wingbacks, Kick 'em when they're down, and Sell it to the crowd. Pat wins the roll and chooses to receive. We select our captains and mascots. Pat picks Tapper and Quaff, while I pick Thresher and Peck. This is our second attempt at recording this game. In the first game, I attempted to play Kicking Grange, which had Brewers in mind when we thought it up, but that was a pre-Decimate world, and she tears apart that list very easily. It was not a fun game to watch, so for this match, I am going back to the traditional Farmer's plan with a Kicking Thresher list. Pat starts off the draft with Vet Decimate. In case you've been living under a rock for the last few months, Vet Decimate is insanely good. She has single-handedly moved Brewers from a bottom-tier team to one of the best in the game. You will see her played every game until she gets nerfed. I pick Millstone. Pat picks Spigot. I pick Tater. Pat picks Hooper. I pick Harrow. Pat picks Lucky. I draft Jackstraw. I have yet again drafted the world's winning Thresher list. Thresher is not the captain I enjoy playing in Farmers, but there are a lot of matchups or situations where playing Grange isn't really feasible, and this is the list I fall back on in those situations. Pat is playing a list all about running as much influence through his few strong players as he can, by placing just a ton of buffs on those players. The terrain on this board was generated using the Longshanks terrain generator. At the top we have an obstruction, then moving down we have 2 more obstructions, and a bit of rough ground. I deploy from top to bottom we have Jackstraw, Peck, Millstone, Tater, Thresher, and Harrow. Thresher is kicking. Pat deploys. From top to bottom, we have Lucky, Quaff, Tapper, Vet Decimate, Spigot, and Hooper. I kick off. I sacrifice a bit of threat here to keep Thresher inside Millstone's protection and to trigger Look Busy on Harrow's activation. With my kick, I try to keep the ball as close to Thresher as possible so that Pat will have to give me a victim to hit with Thresher. The ball scatters just over the line. Pat allocates and places 3 on Tapper, 4 on Decimate, 2 on Hooper, 1 on Spigot, and 3 on Quaff. I allocate, I place 5 on Thresher, 2 on Jackstraw, 1 on Peck, 2 on Millstone, and 1 on Harrow. Pat activates Quaff. He puts Bag of Quaffers and Second Wind on Decimate, then jogs to the ball, and kicks it to Tapper. The kick is good, and Pat keeps the momentum. I activate Harrow. Harrow uses Sow the Seeds for free, since Thresher is nearby. He then tools up Thresher and jogs up a bit. Pat activates Tapper and kicks the Spigot. The kick is good, and Pat keeps the momentum. Tapper jogs forward and buys Commanding Aura. I activate Peck and jog him so that he is within 4 inches of Thresher and the goal. Peck puts Cocky on Thresher. Pat activates Lucky and jogs him up to the cover. I jog Tater up to the cover, turning on Countercharge. Pat activates Spigot. He jogs him up and uses Times Called. He puts Tooled Up on Decimate and drops the ball to Hooper. I activate Jackstraw. Jack jogs up and drops his Harvest Markers. With this activation, I am threatening to go into Tapper early, and with Tooled Up and Don't Fear, I am threatening to kill him. Pat activates Hooper and kicks the Decimate. Pat misses the kick and it scatters behind the line. Hooper sprints to the ball. I activate Millstone and put Get in the Goal on Peck. She jogs up and drops her Harvest Marker. Pat activates Decimate. Pat charges Thresher. I declare a counter using Thresher's Poised. Decimate's charge brings her into melee with Tater and prevents him from countercharging her. Decimate's charge wraps to the 3, doing knockdown, stagger, and a double push. Thresher's counterattack does 2 damage, and they ain't tough to Decimate. Decimate attacks Thresher again and does a knockdown stagger. I choose not to take the knockdown on Millstone, which is a bit of a mistake, since Decimate can now free herself of Tater and run away. Decimate attacks Tater and does 3 damage push. This pushes him out of melee. She then uses Second Wind to run away. I activate Thresher and stand him up by forfeiting his movement. This ends the turn. Brewers are leading the momentum race 3-0. We play our game plans. Pat plays Kick 'em when they're down. I play Hunker Down. Pat wins and chooses for me to go first. I allocate. I pick up 2 harvest markers for influence and place 5 on Thresher, 2 on Jackstraw, 1 on Peck, 1 on Millstone, 1 on Harrow, and 4 on Tater. Pat allocates. He places 5 on Tapper, 2 on Decimate, 3 on Spigot, and 3 on Lucky. Pat over-allocates here, but we catch it before he spends any influence. I activate Harrow, jog up, and tool up Thresher. I leave him kind of far back. I am worried about him being murdered by Decimate. The tooled up makes Thresher threaten to kill Tapper unless Pat does something about it. Pat activates Quaff, jogs up to engage Thresher, and quaffs Decimate. I activate Thresher. Thresher jogs to engage Tapper and takes a parting blow from Quaff, which does 1 damage. I realize that I forgot to Legendary before jogging, but I'm locked in at this point, so I pop Legendary anyway. Thresher attacks Tapper, Pat counterattacks. Thresher knocks Tapper down. His second attack wraps and does 1 damage on the wrap, and 2 damage, they ain't tough, to Tapper. His third attack does 3 damage. I attack again and bonus time the attack, doing 4 damage. Thresher's final attack is also bonus timed and wraps, doing 5 damage. Thresher eats a harvest marker with Don't Fear and kills Tapper and deals 4 damage to the dog. Score is now 0-2. What the? Really? In the middle of... Oh wait, it's my reminder to tell you about this sweet Guild Ball tournament Chicago Guild Ball is hosting, Second Wind. Join the Chicago crew on December 15th and 16th at Alarmus Brewery for 2 days of Guild Ball action, featuring handcrafted brews, band value approved prizes, and other Chicago-related shenanigans. Follow the link in the description to sign up. Okay, enough of this bit. Back to Run the Length. Thresher killing Tapper here is huge, since it effectively kills 7 influence, as well as the captain's activation. Pat activates Decimate and jogs to engage Thresher, and attacks. I declare a counterattack. Pat's dice go super badly, and he gets 1 hit, doing 1 damage and a push, moving Thresher to within 1 inch. My counterattack does knockdown dodge, effectively ending Decimate's activation. Pat is in some trouble. I activate Millstone and jog to base with Quaff. She drops her harvest marker and attacks, doing momentous 2 damage. Pat activates Hooper. Hooper jogs up and sets down the ball. I activate Jackstraw and jump to the harvest marker. He uses crop dusting to lay 2 harvest markers, and I bonus time the roll on the dog, killing him. Score is now 0-3. Jackstraw jogs away from the fight. Pat activates Lucky and gains 1 influence, since Pat went second this turn. Lucky charges Thresher. I defensive stance and counterattack using Poised. Lucky does 2 damage. My counterattack does 1 damage, healing Thresher 1 from the Legendary. Lucky attacks Thresher again, doing a knockdown. I take the knockdown on Thresher. Lucky stands up Decimate with momentum, then attacks Thresher again, doing 4 damage. I activate Tater and spend a momentum to stand up. Tater charges Lucky, doing momentous 2, and proccing Sweeping Charge for another 3 damage. His second attack does 2 damage. His final attack does a mowdown. Pat activates Spigot and charges Tater. I declare a defensive stance. Spigot knocks down Tater. I activate Peck and jog behind Tater. Peck uses his heroic to stand up Tater, and I dodge him 1 inch out of Spigot's melee range. This ends the turn. Farmers lead the momentum race 2-3. We play our game plans. I play Go for the Knees. Pat plays Get Back in There. I win initiative and choose to go first. I place my +1 tack from Go for the Knees on Tater and move to allocation. I pick up 2 harvest markers for extra influence. I place 5 on Thresher, 4 on Tater, 2 on Millstone, 1 on Harrow, and 2 on Jackstraw. Pat allocates. He jogs Tapper and Quaff back on the pitch. He places 5 on Tapper, 3 on Hooper, 4 on Decimate, and 1 on Spigot. I activate Thresher and attack Lucky, doing Momentous 3. Thresher attacks Decimate and does 1 damage. They ain't tough. Thresher's third attack goes on Decimate, doing 2 damage. Thresher's fourth attack does 2 damage. His final attack does 1 damage. They ain't tough, reducing Spigot's armor. Thresher walks to engage Spigot, Lucky, and Decimate, and eats a Harvest Marker to Don't Fear all 3. This kills Lucky. The score is now 0-5. Pat activates Tapper and declares a charge against Tater. I declare defensive stats. Pat hits Commanding Aura and buys another attack against Tater, doing a knockdown. His third attack does 4 damage. His final attack does 2 damage. He uses his Heroic to put 2 influence on Spigot. Pat's dice continue to let him down here, with another mediocre set of rolls from Tapper. I activate Harrow and jog over to Tater and put Tooled Up on him. I then spend 2 momentum standing him up so that he doesn't die to Spigot. This is a little bit greedy since Pat has a coin flip to kill Tater with Hooper, but I don't realize it at the time. Pat activates Hooper and jogs to engage both Tater and Thresher. Hooper uses his Heroic for +2 tech and attacks Tater. He will likely knock down Tater whether I take the counterattack or not, and is super likely to get it, so I choose not to counterattack. Pat misses the knockdown and does 3 damage. Pat attacks again, and I choose not to take the counter again, and Pat misses the knockdown again, dealing 3 damage. Hooper's final swing at Tater, and he bonus times it, doing 3 damage. This is yet another brutal run of dice for Pat. He's about 83% to hit the knockdown on the first, and then 75% chance to hit the 5 damage after that. Bonus times could also make the run better. I activate Tater, since he will die if I don't. For the extent of his activation, I forget about the +1 tack. I heal Tater, then attack Spigot, dealing 3 damage. Tater swings again with bonus time, hitting the mowdown. Tater charges Decimate, and I bonus time the roll. The charge wraps to the 2. I select 2 damage results, and Sweeping Charge triggers, hitting Thresher, Spigot, Decimate, and Hooper. This kills Decimate. Score is now 0-7. Pat activates Quaff and jogs him up. I activate Jackstraw, jump to a Harvest Marker. He jogs up a bit, then throws his Crop Dusting on Hooper and Spigot. I hit both, dealing 1 to Hooper and 2 to Spigot. Pat activates Spigot and forfeits movement to stand up. I activate Millstone, drop her Harvest Marker, and charge Tapper. Her charge does Momentous 2 damage. I activate Peck and jog him to engage Spigot. This ends the turn. Farmers are leading the momentum race 4-0. We play our game plans. I play fullback. Pat plays wingbacks. I choose to go first. I allocate. I pick up 1 Harvest Marker for extra influence. I place 5 on Thresher, 1 on Millstone, 4 on Tater, 2 on Jackstraw, and 1 on Harrow. Pat jogs Decimate and Lucky back on the pitch. He moves to allocation. He places 5 on Tapper, 3 on Hooper, 3 on Quaff, and 2 on Decimate. I activate Thresher. The plan here is to kill Spigot and shoot the goal and win the game. He eats a Harvest Marker for 3-inch melee, then sprints to the ball and back to melee with Spigot. Thresher attacks Spigot and does 2 damage. They ain't tough. Thresher's second attack does Momentous 3 damage and kills Spigot. Score is now 0-9. Thresher takes a shot on goal with bonus time and hits it, winning the game. Final score 0-12. This post-game analysis was made possible by the Patreon support of viewers like you. This matchup is incredibly swingy. Me and Pat made 2 attempts at playing this matchup. One went 12-0, the other went 0-12. I think that it comes from the fact that both factions have bad defensive stats, and both can absolutely murder anything they get a hold of. The game feels like whoever gets the better engage has a huge advantage, and I think I got the better engage due to a few misplays by Pat early on turn 2. Then to make matters worse, every time Pat had a chance to strike back, he constantly rolled below average, making climbing out of the hole he was in harder and harder. But with that, I'd like to pass the question on to you. What were our mistakes this game? Would you have made different decisions during the game? Let me know in the comments down below. Hit that like button, it helps other Guild Ball players find this video. hit the subscribe button if you're new here, and hit the bell to know the moment I upload a new video. I'm Vincent Curkov, and this has been Run the Length.